Hi, I'm Ian Corzine, your social media lawyer, here today on Saturday to answer all of your social media law questions that you may have out there. Are you guys struggling with social media right now? Do you have questions about how to succeed? Do you have failures that you want to talk about? Maybe we can correct them live online. Also, I'm going to review some comments that I get on my videos and some of my live streams so that we can go through that and maybe we can benefit from some of the knowledge that I give creators on a day-to-day basis. So first, we're going to say hi to some people that have joined us a little early. We have Mr. Vagia. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Boom, we got a big hello right there. We also got Just Dude. I just love these videos so much. Thanks so much for joining us. We got Insane McLean. I love that handle. It is so good. And then we also got Ludar, yo, and Rocco Stool. How do taxes work as a creator? Wow, that's a great question to start up on. Let me just see if I could turn the theme different so we can see this comment a little better. Yeah, so that's a really great question. There's a video that I made probably about a month and a half ago or so that you can find on my channel where I go into detail about how taxes work as a YouTube creator. We also touch upon how taxes work on some of the other social media platforms too that you get paid for, whether it be TikTok. Perhaps it's YouNow, maybe you're a live streamer there. So I would encourage you, instead of us getting into the weeds here, to go to that video. And then if you have any questions from that video, just put them in the comment section of the video, or you can always email me at info@iancorzine.com. Just go to iancorzine.com and you can find that email address and you get a hold of me personally. Or sometimes people like to schedule time on my calendar. You can do that also by going to iancorzine.com. All right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, I was going to share this screen here for a moment, is asked to look at some comments that I've gotten recently. Specifically, it says here, we have a question here. What if there is Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 unported in this description? How can I put it in my description? Basically, what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about Creative Commons for a moment. You know, to give everybody a background about Creative Commons, it's a wonderful opportunity. Oops, I'll put this off. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to use content without permission, or basically with implied permission from the original creator. I love using Creative Commons video and audio. When I'm doing my B-roll for my videos, the first step I'm looking for is Creative Commons stuff because it's so flexible. It allows you so many different ways to use the content and also to build upon the content. I'm a big proponent of free speech, a big proponent of fair use. And when you get into the Creative Commons context, you really can exercise those rights. So Creative Commons, go to creativecommons.org. You get a rundown basically of what the licenses are. There's multiple licenses. They range from 1.0 to 4.0. And you can figure out from this website what content you can use and how to attribute. In other words, how to tell the people that are on your video that you got this information or this video or this audio from another source. And what's really great about it is you can, at least with the 4.0 license and 3.0 to a certain extent, you can use this video and audio for commercial purposes. In other words, making AdSense revenue, selling t-shirts, doing online courses. You can use this stuff in that context, not have to pay for it, and then not have to expressly get permission to use it. I made a video about it a fair while ago, I want to say a year and a half ago, where we go into detail. I take you from soup to nuts on Creative Commons. I encourage you to go to my channel on YouTube and just type in Creative Commons and it'll pop up. Made actually several on this subject, and it'd be great for you to go through that and then use this content as opposed to taking video off Google or downloading it from YouTube. You're going to be able to get this stuff for free and actually be able to use it. Awesome. We got some other people on the line. We got Andrew. Good to see you. I love talking to Andrew. He's super knowledgeable about COPPA and a lot of the other social media laws. So I'm looking forward to be challenged by Andrew's questions coming up. We also have Hel Rio. Great to see you. I am doing great. Wasn't able to watch it live because of the time difference. No problem. You know, guys, I am just so happy when you're here, whenever you can be. When you have things going on, great. I'm one of those big people that you gotta do social media, but you also gotta live a life. and I live a really great life. I'm able to travel a whole bunch, and so sometimes my lives start on different times, and I do my best. But please, never apologize. I'm just happy you're here now. We got let's see, who else do we got going on here? We got Cobot Plays. Good to see you too. We got Multi Tiush. Nice to see you. Got Nico here. Good to see you, Nico. Adam's also here. Hi. We got RJW. What's up? Love the shirt, man. Thanks so much. Yes, yes. I'm kind of doing, it's the summer. I'm getting a little loose, no tie, short sleeves. So yeah, I'm trying to do it. Thank you so much. We also got Nico there. How are you, sir? I'm doing good. And we got LPO Gamer. Can you get death penalty for copyright? Because I heard one person got death penalty because of copyright. The only time I've ever heard of that, and I don't mean to laugh, it's a serious matter, is North Korea has some stiff penalties. I read in the paper today that they did not want certain social media platforms, people accessing them and listening to certain famous commercial artists. So I have not heard of the death penalty for copyright, but I will say this, that copyright is very serious. And what I mean by that is that you've got to follow the copyright rules on your given social media platforms. I show you how to do that in my videos, and we can talk about it more here today. Happy to do that. But it's very simple. There's just two main rules, and that is you can't use other people's copyrighted content without their permission. And secondarily, you can do that if you have a fair use purpose. And we've talked about that many times. I can go into more detail if you'd like. But right now, I want to say hi to some more people because we're all here. Yeah, the death penalty is not there. Yeah, YouTube's audio library is great with creative content. Yeah. So just a quick tip: if you're using Creative Commons content, one way to find it is actually to go to YouTube, go into the search box, type in the particular subject matter you're looking for. Maybe Coldplay, the band. Type that in, and then do a little edit of the search, get advanced search, and then you'll see a number of boxes there. You can find videos by views, and you can find videos by trending, but you can also find Creative Commons videos, those marked Creative Commons. If you click on that box, and then you get the refreshed search results, you're going to see Coldplay videos, but with Creative Commons content that will permit you to use that type of content in your videos. So a lot of times, if you want to have copyrighted content, you think it's necessary for you to convey your meaning, then you should use this. You should just go to YouTube, search for Creative Commons, video, and then use your own app to be able to get that content downloaded and then upload it into your content. We got Lu, I don't know how to pronounce that letter, but Luar. There is a really popular song, but it is not Creative Commons. How would I go around this and use the song that I want? Really great question. One that I get from a number of creators during my consults on a day-to-day basis. So many ways, all right? So many ways. The first step in the analysis is, though, do I really need this popular song? I know it's cool. I know it's awesome to have, the latest, I'm thinking of Megan Thee Stallion song in your video. But do you really need it in order to get your meaning across? If you're thinking that it's merely just a cool thing, then maybe there's something you can do to be able to get viewers to engage with your video without using copyrighted content. Got to tell you, there's a lot of different services out there that have royalty-free music that you can use that is just as cool, in my opinion, as some of the popular songs. And then sometimes, if you have a really memorable video, then people remember that song, that royalty-free song you used as kind of your theme song, and you can use that song time and time again and be able to get that engagement. But if you decide that the sound, the popular music that you need to have, must be in that video, then there's a couple of ways you can do it. One way you can do it is you can get a parody going. When I started my podcast, I wanted that song. I'm trying to think, what is it? It's by Soulja Boy, one of Soulja Boy's songs, and I just couldn't use his song verbatim in my podcast. So what I did is I went to Fiverr and I had one of those music composers create a parody of the song. So it sounds similar to it, has that same vibe. And I used that in my podcast, in my intro. And it was great. I own the copyrights to it. I paid $20, $25 to get this thing done. And now I had the same effect as I wanted. and I didn't worry, I didn't lose any sleep about getting a copyright claim or a copyright strike later on. So that's another way to do a parody. The other thing too is if you are using this popular song in your video for a specific purpose, in other words, you want to teach about it. How do you make I always talk about the Drake beat. How do you make Drake's beats? How do you make it sound like Drake does? Then that's an educational purpose, and that might fit in the fair use doctrine. And so you might use a small portion of the song and then teach about it in the video, and that would be something that would comply with fair use. Again, short portions. People sometimes think they need much longer portions to get their meaning across, and actually they don't. They just need to evoke an emotion. So if it's a Star Wars review video, you just need to flash on the screen a picture of Darth Vader. Oh, I'm scared. That's enough. Second. So you don't need to have the whole scene of Darth Vader going around and hurting people. So that's another way to be able to get really popular songs in there, is just to use short portions. All right, we got another question from Just Dude. I was just wondering, are there companies that put their images on free stock photo websites just to make a claim? And how do I spot this so it doesn't happen to me? I have never heard from creators that there's this scam going, that there's various people that put photographs out and say, hey, they're free, only to claim them later. It may exist. I think the only remedy, the top royalty-free iStock photo, the other royalty-free type providers that are out there, stockphotos.com, those will be able to, if you do business with those, I think you can trust them. And the other thing you can do is just be cautious. If you're getting a royalty-free image or royalty-free audio and if you're a little bit concerned about it, well, maybe just do a test. Make one video with this stuff and see where you go with it. Let it sit for a while, try a different service, and just see if there's a certain trust level, because I would hate for you to get in a situation where there is a claim and you lose all revenue because you were duped, you were defrauded into using an image that got claimed later on in time. I think that's horrible if that's happening. I can't imagine it's a very good business model. I know obviously pulling revenue from creators could make money over time, and depends on how big the creator is. But I think that's not a great business model. So I'm not seeing that happen very often. But if it does, please let me know. Guys, also, if you ever see these scams, if you ever see these things that I should look into as a social media lawyer, please feel free to email me at info@iancorzine.com and set me a hip to them. One, I can make a video about them and tell other creators so that they don't fall for a trap. Two, I can look into it. I have a lot of creator clients that are up there as far as subs and power and YouTube and in the MCNs, and I could certainly set them on it to do an investigation to stop that from happening. So we also got another question here. Let's see. I got to get back to it. Woof. We got a question from Not So Edited Videos. How are you? When I wanted to dispute a copyright claim under fair use, YouTube showed me lots of types of fair use: promotional video, remix or matchup, entertainment review, and documentary. But then he continues, but I couldn't find any article that explains these kinds of fair use and their boundaries. Okay. Well, if you guys have the time, I do, so I can explain this to you. Well, first of all, promotional video is not a typical type of fair use under, Title 17 USC Code Section 107. Commercial videos can use content that constitutes fair use. I get questioned, can I use the fair use doctrine if I'm not monetized, or if I don't want to monetize, or if I am monetized? And the answer is all of the above. You can. Remix or mashup, that is unique. That is something that YouTube has recognized almost merely verbally or orally as lore. There is no technical a rule that on YouTube's terms of service or their guidelines, their community guidelines, that says that a remix or mashup is appropriate on YouTube. And frankly, under at least America's laws and those of Britain and I think of Australia, there is no recognized remix or mashup exception for fair use. We can go into how you can do that, but that's not a type of fair use. Entertainment, that's not a type of fair use either. Matter of fact, the main reason why people get into trouble when they use other people's content, their audio or their video, is because they are using it for an entertainment purpose. And that purpose is the same as the purpose for creating that video or that audio. So yeah, you can't just take a clip of Friends, a funny moment of the TV show Friends, and throw it in your video because you want to get that laugh. Because the purpose of that initial Friends episode was to make people laugh, was to entertain them, and you're using it for the same purpose. In order to constitute fair use, you have to transform the original copyrighted work to make meaning for yourself and for your viewers. So they're not tuning in to you to watch the original content. They're tuning in to you to see your commentary, your parody, your teaching about that content. And then we got review and documentary. Those review, commentary, critique, and commentary or documentary are exactly uses of fair. Those are fair use. So with review, real simple. I have a bright line rule. It's not written anywhere, but the bottom line is when you're doing reviews, videos, 2 to 5 seconds of the audio or the video or the image clip. And then I like to have commentary before, after, and sometimes during that clip. If you go to Legal Eagles channel, my good friend Devin does a great job of doing fair use. He'll look at various movies or he'll look at TV shows. And what's so great about him is he does commentary right through those clips, and those clips are short. And the purpose of that is to give his opinion about what's going on in the scene, but not for you to necessarily watch that scene to be entertained. You're being entertained by Devin and not the original content. So as much commentary as you can. I had a consult this week with a creator that was doing health-related content. And he was concerned that he said, listen, I can't do commentary. I can't do critique because I'm not a medical doctor. And I said, no. Of course you can do that. The commentary, the critique doesn't necessarily have to pertain to professional opinions. It can be like, I didn't like this video because it wasn't clear to me. I didn't like the words they chose to describe this. I didn't like this plot. This plot didn't work for me. You don't have to be a professional screenwriter to have those opinions. If there was a opinion about, listen, there's a treatment for, getting a cold, and you said, boy, I didn't work for me. You don't have to be a doctor to say this treatment didn't work for me. So the commentary doesn't have to be super professional or specific. It just has to be your opinions, your views on that content, and put them out there. And here's the thing that's so ironic about it. Some people are afraid to do that because they don't want to put themselves on the line. But that commentary, that critique is the very thing that attracts people to your videos. They really are there for you, not to watch scenes of Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever you're doing to do some commentary. And then documentary, just to kind of finish up on this particular question. Yes, of course, if you're doing historical work, you're talking about World War II or something like that. A lot of the footage from that World War II is actually already in the public domain, but let's say it's not. You can do it as a historical record, as you describing history for people. So that's appropriate. But again, keep those clips as short as possible. That way, you're not going to get in trouble with YouTube, or worse, the copyright holder who files a copyright infringement lawsuit against you. All right, let's see. We got Luca. Aloha. I'm going to be going to Hawaii next week, so I will see you there, Luca. We got Andrew. He's responding to a LPO gamer. It sounds unreasonable because of copyright infringement. It is just plain wrong. We will get to that moment about some of us deem drivers to be irresponsible. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but we'll look at that. Okay. Let's see. Rebuke the devil. How are you? They still won't monetize, and it says reused. So I think what they're referring to is maybe some sort of YouTube response to video as being either repetitive, reused content, duplicate content. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. And they won't monetize. Yeah, that happens quite a bit. One of the things that you got to be careful with is I've had creators come to me and they say, I'm getting this repetitive content issue from YouTube. And what's happening is YouTube is picking up the same intro part of their video. So they'll do a little bit of a hook and then they'll do an intro, and YouTube is picking up on that intro saying, you're just putting the same stuff out. How do you get around that? Make sure your intros are no longer than 15 seconds. I'd say 5 seconds long or 3 seconds. That is a way that YouTube has a setup so that they're not going to be picking up that type of content when it's longer than 15 seconds. So keep those intros short. We got Nico saying, "Can I promote my YouTube channel with Google Ads?" You definitely can. You can promote your YouTube channel with YouTube ads. We're seeing that much more often now. YouTube ads are actually fairly cheap. For my other online business, I've been using YouTube ads, and it's been really, really good. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. What's great about YouTube ads, which is different than some of the other ad platforms like Facebook or Instagram or even Pinterest, is that you can put your ad on your competitors or your friends in the same field or on various videos. I mean, you can really niche it down so that if there's some video that you think is getting a lot of views and it pertains to the same subject matter that you have, you can locate your ads right on top of that video. It's pretty cool. That way, people are getting personalized ads, and maybe they'll see your content along with content from another larger creator. Okay, we got not so edited videos. When I wanted to dispute a copyright claim under fair use, YouTube showed. Oh, that's the same one. Oh, maybe it's different. He changed it a little bit. All right. Well, that's the same question. We talked about that one. Okay, I'm a little behind here. Tom Chan says, "Hello, is characters of celebrity copyright?" Caricatures comes into the dual category between fan art and parody. So you just have to make sure that your caricatures are funny, or making fun of. If that's the case, then that would fall into fair use. But fan art, in other words, if you are really doing your best to copy the look of Spider-Man, and you're doing that on your videos or you're doing that on your drawings or something like that, that would fall within a copyright infringement purpose. I will tell you, within the area of fan art, oftentimes the copyright holders, Marvel or DC or whatever, aren't going to complain. They're not going to file a copyright infringement lawsuit against you because they want to propel the popularity of their character, like Spider-Man or whatever. So you're not going to find as many problems with that. But yes, make sure that if you're doing caricatures and you're putting those on your YouTube videos or in your YouTube videos, that it's funny. You're making fun of them. That's one quick way to be able to access the fair use doctrine. All right. LPO, is there a Japanese song that I have zero copyright claims? Okay. Don't know what that means, but cool. Thank you. No worries. Let's see. I want to make sure. Oh gosh, there's a bunch here. All right. Whew. We got Andrew here. Basically about the COPPA, as I love to overlearn about it. It's interestingly true that Ryan's World forgot to disclose his sponsorship on his channel and the videos in the reality 2 years ago. Yeah, that was that's an example of what we see in social media, where the biggies, people with the many thousands of or millions of subscribers, kind of get the benefit of the doubt when there is a compromise of law. So yeah, that's a good example of a time. When we talk about these rules that we're talking about, a lot of times you're going to watch the larger creators with 5 million subscribers, and you're going to say, well, how in the world do they get to play, one of the most famous songs in their videos? Well, a lot of them, they'll take the claim, they'll take the copyright strike. They know that it's worth it to them to have that music in the video. They got the money to get it off their record. And so you and I are stuck with following the rules. But hey, the bottom line is you follow the rules until you get large enough so that maybe you can bend them a little bit. We got Kevin. Good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. I was just in Florida 2 weeks ago. Not Lakeland, but I was in Key West, and I love your state. It's awesome. We got multi-use. Friends say I can grow channel faster if I use Insta, but I never use it because I've seen so many people say that Insta steals and sell the personal info. Is the Insta stealing info? That is a loaded question. I don't know about stealing because I've read the terms of service multiple times. The point of it is that if you're using Instagram, if you're using Facebook, that you are giving away your personal information. And you have to understand that these social media platforms aren't just taking the stuff you give them. They're actually reading your content, whether it be your posts, your comments, or the transcripts of your videos. Those are being analyzed for content moderation and being used. Some of us out there have had this weird experience where we've said, gosh, I feel like, I want to get a new bicycle. I want a bicycle. I want to get a new bike. And then all of a sudden we pop up our browser and we see ads for bikes. I don't know. I don't have any definitive evidence that they're listening and stealing our private information. All I know is before you really start using Instagram to advertise and publicize your YouTube channel, let's review those terms of service. I'll do it with you. I'm planning on doing a series of videos on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest about the terms of service, just giving you the most important things that you need to know before you start using them so you can make informed consent. And that's my goal. Just educate as many people as possible about social media so that they have informed consent. A lot of you are going to say, I know they're taking my personal information. I know they're using it to sell to me, but listen, the benefit of me using the platform is much greater than the risk of my private information being used against me. Just the name of the game. Your choice, not my decision, your decision. My job is to be able to teach you the most important stuff about the fine print. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so we got Andrew back here. And anyways, we knew that we talked about the vagueness of COPPA settlement between FTC and YouTube put creators at a disadvantage alongside the irresponsible parents as they disabled certain features. We're going back to Creekcraft, excuse me, about the reason why the COPPA is vague for a reason because there are many different clear-cut cases and contexts. Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah, there was a vagueness of it. I do think that there was something behind the scenes as far as the settlement that took place way back in 2019. But the bottom line is we got to live with it. And frankly, it looks like YouTube's done a pretty good job of living with it. They're right now actively recruiting children's creators for their kids' YouTube Kids. And people are finding success in other social media platforms. TikTok is the main one. They're putting a lot, I don't know if you've noticed recently, but there's a lot of children's content on TikTok, even though you have to be 13 years old to be able to use TikTok. It looks to me like there's lots of content that's for younger audiences, which I'm sure the FTC will look into. But yeah, I know it was an issue back then, but so far it seems like it's been kind of, I don't know if it's been resolved, but it's been at least quieted down. We got Sabi Symbiont. What are the ways original content creators outside of California can legally go after those in California that are using their content to profit from? So we have a situation where we have original artists creating art. I think he's saying CA, so I'm believing that's California. And then evidently this content is being used, I would assume, online without permission. Well, the first step is to speak to a legal professional who does litigation, so an intellectual property lawyer or someone like that, and to do an analysis of the uses of this person who's taking your content. Are they complying with fair use? Is it a questionable call? Because if the answer to both those questions is yes, you may not want to spend the substantial amounts of money to pursue these people. Because I have to tell you, it's not about right and wrong when it comes to litigation. It's basically about who has the means to go through it. Now, listen, if you sue for copyright infringement and various other causes of action or counts in federal litigation, oftentimes you can allege you're entitled to attorney's fees as a result of this, infringement or this breach of contract or whatever the cause of action is. But it takes many, I'm going to say, I don't know if many years, but a year and a half to 2 years for the process to go through the system and to be able to get that judgment. And even if you get the judgment, you have to rely on the fact that the defendant, the person you're saying stole your stuff, has the means to pay the judgment. So it's a very, very thorny path to pursue people who have stole your content. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, again, informed consent. You have to know the process. And so the process is to do an analysis. If the evidence shows that it is a clear-cut, total copyright infringement, then you'll go to your legal counsel and you'll say, listen, I'd like to bring a copyright infringement action. What do you estimate it's going to cost? And then you can go through that process. And then you do an estimate of what you've lost as a result of this copyright infringement, what damages you have. Maybe you don't get gigs because the stuff is being used somewhere else. Maybe you're not getting the AdSense revenue that you're entitled to because it's being viewed somewhere else. Maybe someone's gotten famous because of your content. And so you can measure that. Once you have that understanding of what the damages are, what it's going to cost, then you can weigh and say, listen, the risk of losing is worth it because I have so much in damages and I can't afford to pay the attorneys to prosecute the action. So that's the legal route to going after someone in California or frankly, any of the states in America. Generally, you're doing your litigation in federal court when it comes to copyright infringement. And then the other part too, you have to remember is that I didn't add to this is that, I'm assuming that the person who took it is in California. If they're not, then you're going to have to be able to get personal jurisdiction over them. Now, if it's in one of the states of in America, it's easier. But if it's global, if the person who stole your content is in Australia, let's say, then it's really hard to bring those people to justice. It costs a lot of money. So there's a lot of factors you got to consider. The simple expedient, if you don't want to go through all that analysis, is to go to the ISP that's harboring the content that you believe is copyright infringement and file a DMCA takedown notice, which should be fairly easy to the if it's like GoDaddy or if it's YouTube or one of the social media platforms. They actually have procedures. You can just fill out the forms, and under the law, this ISP or social media platform is required to take down that alleged copyright infringement content. And then that starts the process of the DMCA. So then there's a response, and then there's a period of time that you have to file a lawsuit if you choose. So that's one way to get stuff down. A lot of times the person who stole it is not going to respond, and so it's going to be down forever. It's kind of like whack-a-mole. So I have some content creators who spend portions of their month whack-a-moling, filing DMCA takedown notices usually with Instagram, because I have a lot of photographer clients that have put up photography, and the stuff is used commercially to advertise products, and they got to file these DMCA takedown notices with Instagram. So that really is the two methods you can use. If you want to talk about it more, because I can give you some more detail, you can always go to iancorzine.com and go into the upper right-hand corner, click on schedule a consult, and then we can talk in person. We got, why is YouTube not monetizing if it's public domain content, not monetizing? Well, it's hard to tell, Rebuke the Devil, what exactly the situation is. Do you have your 1,000 subscribers? Do you have your 4,000 hours watched? Even if you do, YouTube has been a little slow approving monetization. I don't know if it's a situation where you're already monetized and you're putting up content and it's being demonetized. To talk more about that question, we may need to talk in person, so go to iancorzine.com. All right. If we go to Satish Das, if I make a piano cover on a song, do I need to pay for it? If I don't pay, will there be a copyright strike, and will my channel be monetized by such videos? Okay, so basically, this gentleman or person is making a piano cover of a song, and he's saying, hey, do I need to pay for it? Well, if you're doing it properly, then yes, you're going to approach the person who wrote the song, potentially the person who has the rights to the song, and has performed the song, and attempt to get what's called a mechanical or a sync license, or both. And that's the best way to do it, and say, listen, I would like to have permission to perform your song on YouTube or one of the other platforms, or maybe even live. And then sometimes you have to pay for it, and sometimes they just allow you to do it gratuitously. So that's the first step. And if you don't pay, will there be a copyright strike? Well, if you perform the song without getting permission, and it doesn't constitute fair use, then you upload it to YouTube. Then what YouTube does is they do an analysis of the song through their debate. They run it through their Content ID database, and they do use their AI programs. And they will tell you generally if it's allowed on YouTube or not after the upload process has happened. So the best way to figure out if you're going to have a big problem up front is to upload your videos to YouTube. Let them go through the copyright checking process. And if you get a positive result, in other words, it's clear, a green $sign, then you're not out of the woods, but then at least in the initial run through, it's not a problem, and you can monetize that video cover. Now, I have to tell you that just because a video is uploaded and it goes through the copyright checks doesn't necessarily mean that later on in time you won't get a claim, or you won't get a copyright strike, or you won't be sued for copyright infringement. Bottom line is up to you to comply with the law first and foremost. So the video may be allowed on YouTube for a period of time, but 2 years later, you may wake up and you're like, everything's great, got 1 million subscribers, but boom, well, I got a copyright claim, or worse, I got a copyright strike. So piano covers, or covers in general, are oftentimes very difficult. So what we're seeing a lot of creators doing is just moving to the live platform. So they'll do it on Twitch, even though we did a video on Wednesday about how Twitch outlaws copyright infringement very harshly. But they're doing it on Twitch, they're doing it on YouNow, they're doing it on YouTube. They're doing their live with the covers, and then they're later on in time, they rely on the fact that there's a lot of variations in the music, and then also they can pull down their lives. They can unlist them or pull them down entirely after they're done. So they still get the performance, but they pull it down, and there's usually not as large of effect. Making video covers, that's a risky type business. It's really difficult to trigger fair use when you're doing a cover of a song. But we can talk about that in more detail if you have more questions about that. Let's see. We got LPO. Facebook copyright is broken because when someone upload a Kamen Rider movie or any movie like anime, they got copyright after a month or a week of uploading the movie. Yeah, it's very true. It used to be that Facebook was much more sensitive on the upload. They would block anything that was copyrighted. Now they're allowing more, but you're right. They're getting taken down. The content's getting taken down more later on in time, and it's penalizing your account. I've seen a lot of people who are monetized on Facebook lose their monetization. So yeah, you got to be careful. It's got to be really careful. All right. So now, Andrew, I see your comments here, and so we can talk about COPPA a little bit, but they're a little bit detailed right here. Let's just see if we can get some. Let's see. We talked about the child abusive YouTubers as the good examples of a catalyst at creating a mess like COPPA, settlement around viewers and creators in your Facebook stream about Starbucks leaving. Yes, we did talk about that. Yes. Rebuke the Devil says he's going to go to the website. Great. Misunderstood. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for the claps. I love it. We also got Flounder Fanatic Fishing. I love fishing channels. That's another big category that's blowing up on YouTube right now. Hi, Ian. I would like to ask a question. Can you have a YouTube channel name similar to a company and not get sued? Absolutely. YouTube channel names are not considered, I guess there's the possibility they can be considered infringement, but the answer that generally that's not the case. Your social media handles are not something that could be relied upon in a trademark infringement lawsuit. But I will say this: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Rumble, a number of the other social media platforms, they all outlaw impersonation. So there are some crafty people out there that, Mr. Beast, good example. I think his channel name is actually MR capital BEAST. There's no period, and I think there's no space between the Mr. and the Beast. I think that's the case. But I think right now, if you go onto YouTube, you can search out Mr. Beast with a period after the R. You can search out Mr. MISTER. A lot of people out there who are trying to impersonate Mr. Beast because he gets so many millions of views, and that is outlawed by YouTube. So while you certainly can use a typical name, a name that's in our parlance as your channel name, you can modify it slightly. McDonald's _1671. That's okay. You don't want to get in a situation where you're impersonating with an intent to be able to take those views from another larger creator. That's not the case. But if your last name is Ian McDonald's, you're not going to be penalized for calling your channel McDonald's. So we got Trent the Hedge, or Trent, I always pronounce this wrong. I'm so lame, dude. Trent Hedgehog 1671. I think I even said 1671. I still wonder why YouTube didn't bother adding a general audience option in the settings. So we're back to COPPA. It's very ambiguous. It was very chunky the way YouTube implemented the marking system. It's evidenced by the fact that no other social media platform has done the same. I mean, when you're uploading a video to Facebook, are you saying made for children, not made for children? So it's very clunky. That was the word I was looking for. Very clunky the way the system is. A lot of us have just kind of gotten used to it because these upload screens are just max. I mean, I think it's like 5 different screens now that you have to go through when you're uploading a video. Back in the day, drag it on, boom. You could even do your SEO later on in time. So it's very clunky. Don't know why necessarily. It, I'm sure, pertains to the requirements of the settlement. I'm sure YouTube wanted to make an impression upon people that they didn't want you collecting personal information from children under the age of 13 years old without parental consent. So they wanted you to go through this process every single time. They made it a little bit easier because now they allow you to upload many different videos at the same time. But yeah, it's still a mystery to me. It really is. It really is crazy. We got misunderstood. I keep getting a copyright stroke. I like that. I've never heard that before. That's good. Is that like a Big Mac attack? No. Copyright strike. Can we use music from the YouTube Music app if we have YouTube Premium? It doesn't matter whether or not you have YouTube Premium, and it doesn't matter whether or not you have you use the YouTube Music app. That music on the YouTube Music app is copyrighted content for the most part. You can certainly use the YouTube audio library, which contains music that is free to use, but it's generally not popular music. So there's a couple things you can do. I made a video about Song Freedom, which I believe collapsed now, and they're no longer in business, I believe. But there's a couple other websites out there that will license to you popular copyrighted music. So you actually have to pay for it. It's expensive. I think it's, $200 a song, something like that. And you can actually use it in your videos, and you can have the license. What I do is I put the license in a Google Doc. I create a link. I put that link in the description section. That way YouTube does not read it as a bad link. It knows it's part of a Google property. And then if there's ever a question, a human YouTube reviewer looks at it, he can click on that link, or she can click on that link and go straight to the license and understand that I'm using that popular music. But no, you cannot use it. The one thing I will say though, and here is the way around all this, and I'm loving it, is the YouTube Shorts app, or YouTube Shorts function of YouTube. Boy, have you looked at the music tab when you're creating a YouTube short from your phone? You should do that. Amazing amount of popular music and stuff that's just cutting edge. So if you're, I've had a couple creators come to me and say, listen, I do music review channels. And I say, well, then you're doing shorts because you can really do it. You can literally have, a popular, I'm just trying to think, any, Lady Gaga song, like I said before, playing through the entire YouTube short, talking over it, listening to it, laughing at it, whatever you're doing, and blow up. So if for a lot of people who are doing review stuff, especially music review stuff, just do shorts. It's very easy. Again, make sure you do it on your phone in order to get that blow up of views. Never do your shorts on other cameras, or do it, edit it, and try to upload it from your desktop. Always do it from your phone. That doesn't mean you have to film it on your phone. It just means that you have to put the footage on your phone that you're going to put up in the YouTube short. And then again, my advice to you, I did one short, which was a goofy little short, but I was just doing kind of a test. I've got I think I'm over 20,000 views on it now. And it was because it was top popular music. And so I got to tell you, that is the key. And the other key that they don't always tell you about is if you can make your YouTube short, like 15 seconds or less, that's going to help you with getting views. So the promised land right now, if you can fit your content into short form, is YouTube Shorts. That's where you're going to have popular music in your videos. That's where you're going to get the views. And, listen, you might say, okay, it's not monetized. Who cares? It's a discover function. It's getting your name out there. And then hopefully those people who are, like the short you did, click subscribe. And then your next video, which happens to be 20 minutes long, they're like, dude, I love this person. I love Misunderstood. So that's a real valuable thing right now, YouTube Shorts. Okay, we have Fencing One Goat. Good to see you. Oh, many sites have stolen a t-shirt design I created and are placing Google ads with them. Jeez. Google said they're in the process of taking them down. It has been 8 days. Don't they check before they allow an ad? No, they don't. You got to imagine so much stuff going on with YouTube. And when someone is saying, I want to pay you a good amount of money to advertise, they err on the side of putting the ad out and not on the copyright side. 8 days, while a long time and kind of a pain in the wazoo, is actually not long in terms of Google review for copyright issues. So I have full faith that within the next 5 days or so that you're going to get a response and those will be taken down. But I got to tell you, when someone is paying for Google ads and they're using copyrighted content without permission, it takes a while because Google, I hate to be so pessimistic, but they want to make their money. So they're going to put those ads out and then they'll go, oh yeah, we'll get to you in a moment. Okay. Yeah. Ads. We'll get to you in a moment. So I'm sorry you're going through that. Yeah. Misunderstood says strike. I mean, copyright stroke is better though, I think. Luca, wouldn't that mean Hell of a Boss would be dragged down since it is not intended for kids, but a large portion of the audience are children? It just depends. Most of the creators now are doing general audience content. They're purposely putting in adults in it. They're purposely adding maybe adult themes to their videos so that they can always claim that this was not made for kids. They don't want to lose those comments, those likes, those subscribes, those views. So we got Flounder Fanatic. You honestly need more subs. You are so nice and you help out many people. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm just happy to have this platform. So thank you very much. So we got Kristen Nation. Good to see you, Kristen, again. How do we get the most value from a consult with you? What do we need to prepare? Well, Kristen, thank you so much for asking. What I do in the consult, if you sign up for it, is you get a form that allows you to enter in the questions that you have for me. Kind of do an outline form. So I would advise before you ever do a consult with me that you can put together a Google Doc or something like that and just itemize those questions. We have 45 minutes to go through them. It makes sense. And then the other part too, which happens all the time, is I have creators who want me to do a review, a copyright review. And so they'll either put screenshots, because you can upload in this form the screenshots, or what you can even do is you can include links. What you'll do is go to your YouTube video. Let's say you have a question about this particular video. It's unlisted and you want to see if it's copyrighted content. You go to the video, move the cursor to the point where you want to show that scene for me to look at, then click on the URL. And what's so awesome is if you put that URL in the submission form, then I can click on that and it'll go straight to that part of the video that you would like me to review. I review that. And then when we start our consult, we're boom, hit the ground running. You got your questions there. I've already read them. I've already formulated my answers. And then I've also already watched the videos. So that's a really good way to prepare. And here's the other thing that's really great is that by forcing you to do that mental process, that analysis, you're going to be much more ready to absorb information. Sometimes I speak fast. Sometimes I use a lot of technical jargon. I don't mean to do that, but I just kind of make the mistake of doing that. And if you're already in it, you've already looked at the rules about, adult content on YouTube. You've already looked at the rules regarding copyright. Then when we're talking, we're moving, we're hitting it. So that's a great question, Kristen. I would love to see you in a consult soon. Love to answer any questions you have. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I'm doing this here. By the way, I want to say hi to Michael VX. Good to see you. All right. So we got Exploring Israel's History. Good to see you. Just joined in. Nice to see you. Okay, I'm just trying. Okay, piano cover. I'm trying to find my place in the comments here. Okay. All right. So we got not so edited videos. I'm just saying, if YouTube is giving us a list of many types of fair use entertainment is in there, they should explain what they mean for each one. I just want to know if there's any article. No, the answer is no. There is no article, and here's the reason why. And I like to give it to you straight. And I'm sorry that this may be upsetting, and it may be. And again, I don't mean to. Oh shoot, I didn't see if there's a super chat. I have to address that right away. But the answer to the question is that YouTube makes a lot of money on people breaking the law. I hate to say it, they do. If YouTube was super concerned with outlawing copyrighted content or only allowing, very stringently analyzed fair use content, they could do it. That's how powerful they are. That's how powerful the computers are. But the bottom line is we live in a meme culture, and that has been since 2006 on. And so that is using other people's content without their permission to build upon it. In my opinion, it's free speech. It is freedom of expression. It's taking someone's cute little image and then expanding upon it and making you laugh. I think that's acceptable. But a lot of people disagree. And with YouTube, they agree with me. They like fair use content, but they can't outwardly say that they sanction this content because they have so many large corporations, so many copyright holders that are their customers. And they can't outwardly say, yeah, we pretty much are free. You can put whatever on the site you want, because those people will get angry and those people will pull their advertising dollars. So unfortunately, they're purposely ambiguous, and they've created this reason for me. That's how I even got started in this, is that my daughter was involved in YouTube doing YouTube videos, and she wanted to use copyrighted content. And she said, Dad, I don't even understand what this is. I mean, Some people are using old TV shows and putting them in their videos, and they're getting shut down. They're getting their channels turned down. And then some people are putting whole movies in their YouTube videos, and they're getting, millions of views and maybe making a lot of money. And she said, explain this to me. And I told her, I used my kind of elementary legal training about fair use and about copyright infringement. And I found it didn't make sense. I couldn't explain it to her. I said, no, actually, that's all in violation of the law. That's actually in violation of YouTube's terms of service, but they're allowing it. So I hate to say it, but your only avenue for kind of getting a better understanding of how to use copyrighted content on YouTube is with me and other social media lawyers who do this, who are creators like you first and lawyers second. You probably can't go to your local intellectual property lawyer and ask these questions. They've not reviewed the terms of service for every social media platform like I have. They've not studied them. They haven't sat here in front of cameras and learn the process of making videos and understanding how the rules really work in real life. The restricted video, it's a mystery. I could tell you about it maybe in another live, but there's that mysterious restricted video. Go onto your videos. I bet a lot of them are restricted. I didn't even know a lot of mine were restricted. I don't swear, I don't use any adult themes, but I had restricted videos. So yeah, unfortunately, there is no clear-cut thing. And so I think the first step is to go to my YouTube fair use video, or I made many of them, but my main one, you'll feel, and I'll go and I take you through the exact process, look at some of the lives so that you can see some of the examples we use, and then do your best. And then I also have to say, as time goes by, our ability to use copyrighted content on social media is going to get less and less. We're going to have more and more scrutiny on that. So try to build your channel around creativity, original ideas, your own original concepts, and then your own original art. You can use help. You can get graphic designers to help you with that. All right. I am so sorry that Misunderstood put up this super chat that I did not see. I am so sorry, Misunderstood. She says, that helps so much. Thank you. Thank you for giving me your hard-earned dollars. I thank you so much. I'm just happy to help in any way I can. So I'm just very appreciative. I know it probably took a lot of effort to make that money, and I'm just very thankful. Okay, we got Michael VX. That remind me, there's a friend having a problem in Facebook ad account because being disabled by mistake a couple of times, and I wonder how he should deal with it. Well, I got to tell you that Facebook ad accounts are a mystery to me. You can follow all the Facebook ad guidelines, which I've done because I do Facebook ads with my other online business. I've done YouTube ads with my other online business. And I got to say, Facebook is very, very finicky when it comes to their guidelines. I think a lot of text in the video, no go. A lot of text in the ad, no go. Using Facebook logos, absolutely no go. Longer videos, the more scrutinized. And then no capitalization. Capitalization, they're very sensitive to. No exclamation marks, very sensitive to that. I don't exactly know why, because we do it all day long in other social media platforms, and they do it if you're not doing it in a commercial contest, they allow that. But those are very sensitive. The only thing that I found that works for me is that if I get in a situation where I upload this video and it complies with every single ad guideline, the only thing I've ever done is deleted the campaign. Delete the campaign entirely, re-upload it, try to follow the rules, maybe even tighter, and then oftentimes you're going to get approval. But it is a mystery about getting your ads approved on Facebook. I think it's an initial layer of AI, and I think you just have to be pervasive. You have to appeal and go through the process. It's a pain in the wazoo, and it's getting even harder now that Apple is basically allowing people to opt out of being followed. All right. Okay, we got no username. Is it okay if someone uses a copyrighted photo as their profile? Well, the answer to the question is the risk is minimal. Us social media lawyers oftentimes have to answer questions by risk. That profile picture is so small that it's oftentimes not a big deal. It's not seen. You can do things to transform it so that the AI doesn't see it. So of the things to do, of the art to borrow without permission, using a copyrighted image as your icon, as your avatar, is a minimal risk. I've never seen, and I've seen a lot, I've seen lots of issues with people using copyrighted content in their thumbnails. That's a big problem. And I've seen whole channels taken down or hundreds of videos taken down as a result of that. but I have not seen someone who has a Spider-Man face as his image for his representing his channel as being a problem. So, like I said, minimal risk, could have a risk, but what's the worst that could happen? You just have to change it. So I don't think it's a big deal. All right, so okay, let's see. We got another question here. Just Dude. I love that Just Dude channel name. We're looking back, maybe I should have been Ian Dude. What I like about Facebook now is that when you use a song, they suspect it is copyrighted. They just mute that part of the video. It's a win-win for both. Yeah, I think so. I've seen that too. YouTube does the same thing. YouTube has that new function that came out about 3 years ago, which or not 3 years, 3 months ago, which allows you to mute that portion of the song, and it even allows you to mute it below the audio or below your vocal. Pretty amazing stuff. So yeah, it's exactly right. They're trying to do their best to allow people to use that content. But I have to say this, the keys these days are going to the libraries of the social media platforms that have that licensing. So TikTok, as you know, is huge. And then YouTube Shorts is huge. Those are the places to concentrate right now if you're trying to succeed. Honestly, you got to increase your audience. And how do you do that? You do that with things that people are used to hearing, emotions that people are used to feeling, and then adding yourself into the mix. And, with the ability to record 60-second videos, you can get a lot of information out there. You don't always have to do the dance, the thing like this. You can just either have it as background music in your short or your TikTok video, or you can do something that's kind of funny with it. Think about the concept you're trying to convey. You're a real estate agent, and you're walking through a house and not knowing what you're going to see around the corner. Maybe in the background is the popular music. You can turn it down so it doesn't have to be a major part of the video. But what's so great is the discoverability, because when people look back and see what videos have used that popular song, they might be able to find your song. You know what I'm saying? They might be able to remember you because of that video. So I got to tell you that if you're really trying to increase your audience on YouTube, especially, doing those shorts right now is great, and trying to keep those shorts 15 seconds or less, even better. Listen, a lot of planning goes into doing a 15-second video, but it really is rewarding. I'm evidence of it. I'm a fairly small YouTuber. I did a 15-second video, actually a little bit less, maybe a month ago or so, 20,000 views right now. Okay. That's pretty good for me. Misunderstood. Keep getting a copy. Oh no, that's the same. Oh, I guess my comments got messed up here. Okay, sorry. Whoops. Okay, let's see here. We got Cobalt Fox Plays. Good to see you. At Luke, hell of a boss. Always had as a disclaimer at the beginning of regarding that. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to. If it's a disclaimer regarding giveaways or sponsorship, but whatever. It says, I guess my comment was missed. I'm sorry. Unless I didn't miss it. I'll check and see. All right, we got Return to Analog. I love the name of that channel. Let's do it. It's Return to Analog. Do you think the create button will affect music copyrights and or performing rights? The create button. I am blanking on what the create button is. Could you tell me, Return to Analog, what that means? Create button. Are you talking about YouTube? I'm not sure. All right, so we go to Hell Rio. I used to have a gamer page on Facebook. Just try it up, and one day I posted a GIF I found on the internet. Then Facebook suspended my account because Junkin Media claimed that GIF. Well, you're going to have those problems. I mean, I hate to say it. When you usually with gamer content, you're actually safe because there's that implied license that exists on the internet for most games, which says you're allowed to stream, you're allowed to use images. Sometimes there's a requirement that you can't use the music, but certainly the images. They want to propel the game into popularity. So sorry, but that's going to happen sometimes. Insane McLean, if my children are in my videos, even if just their voice or hand, will I have to tag it as kids content? How do I gauge how I need? No, the answer is absolutely not. Insane McLean. Merely having kids in your videos is not made for children. The guidelines are ambiguous, but I will tell you this, what I've seen from the children creators that I represent, it has to be specifically related to basically younger children, even though it's 13 and younger. I mean, reading time of the Berenstain Bears, LOL dolls in which the actors speak in little small voices, slow dialogue, nursery rhymes, old children's songs that are in the background. That is the stuff that may be construed as exclusively for children. Now, what a lot of the children's channels have done is that they've kind of just expanded their audience a little bit. They've tried to make their content appeal to both adults and children. And content that has children in it, children's stories, so to speak. I'm trying to think of, To Kill a Mockingbird. It was mostly about children, but that's general audience content. So maybe that's a good example. If you're familiar with the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, is your content like that? Mostly about children, but mostly about growing up, and certainly one of the most appealing movies of all time. So yeah, don't worry so much about that. Just be sensitive to whether or not you're speaking directly to kids under 13 when you're doing your content. Be careful with that, because if what YouTube does, AI will actually transform, or they'll categorize your videos if they believe that it's for children only. So you don't want to even get on that line. You want to make sure that it's general audience content. Maybe there's a parental discussion, and then there's parents speaking to kids, and then there's kids talking to each other. Try to be diverse on that, and you won't have a problem. Dokes, what's up, Dokes? What's up, Dokes? What if you remix music for YouTube videos? Is that enough to avoid a strike? Absolutely not. Yeah, remixes are a hard one. Remixes are hard for any social media platform. Yes, they're prevalent. Yes, you see them everywhere, especially on Twitch. Twitch absolutely outlaws infringement of copyright. They construe fair use extremely strictly. If you want to learn more about that, watch my last live stream on this Wednesday. I go through all the things you need to know about Twitch before you start using it. But remixes are difficult. I hate to say it. Here's why. You're taking portions of copyrighted content without permission, but you're using it generally for the same purpose that the person who wrote the music used it for, right? Entertainment, to laugh, or to listen, to dance, to laugh, whatever it is. So it's really hard to transform copyrighted content in that way. I am hoping, and I will be lobbying for an additional amendment to Section 107 to allow remixes, mashups, because I feel it is a legitimate form of content. I believe that you can distinguish between people listening to the original song in its entirety versus mashups and mixes, and also transformation of the song, like changing the instrumentation or adding different beats, keyboards, whatever, guitar, whatever it is. So I really think that there is a credible argument for mashups and remixes to be fair use. And actually, YouTube has said in their Creator Insider videos that they do allow those, but they've never said it in writing. They would never go there, frankly, because they would not want to upset Sony and all the different, music developers or music producers, because they don't want to hurt their bottom line. So that's a tough thing. So here's the thing. I mean, the only thing I've seen that's been successful is Instagram allows live remixes if you look at close to their terms of service, and maybe I could do a video on that too. Now that I think about it, that's probably needed right now. They do allow it. Now, does it violate copyright law? Yes. So that's another thing. You have two things to comply with, both the terms of service of the provider and also law, but they do allow it. So I think if you're going to do remixes and mashups, the place to do it right now is Instagram. Secondarily is Twitch. Twitch outlaws it, but they allow it, kind of. And then third, I think, is YouTube. There's plenty of people that have succeeded doing it. The problem is they get claimed all the time. Problem is that if you keep doing it, then you're likely to get a lot of copyright strikes and your channel goes down. Some people don't care. Some people are so popular, they have their website, and then they start going through the YouTube channels. They've had 10 YouTube channels because they have a whole team of people, and each one has a YouTube channel, and that one goes down, then they emphasize another. That's just their business model. So if you don't want to do that, then live is the right way to go, and Instagram is the place to do it there. All right, Spencer Smith question. By the way, I love this. I am trying to look at this screen as I go through, and if you put question like that, I can see much better. So thank you for doing that. What if someone uses my content on TikTok? It's just a few seconds, less than 10 seconds. So can I copyright claim that? The answer to that question is yes, you can, because frankly, anytime someone uses your art without your permission, it can be construed as an infringement and credibly argued that it is an infringement. So even if you're wrong, like it's total fair use, you can still file a DMCA takedown notice. The best way to do that is type in TikTok DMCA, and it'll pop up with a screen where you can file that DMCA takedown notice. What'll end up happening is that content will be pulled, and then there will be a response period by the person who took it. And I can talk to you in more detail. Go to iancorzine.com if you want to learn more information about that, or you want to speak to me personally. You can do a consult with me. You can talk about it. The next part of the analysis is Spencer, do you want to do that? And what I mean by that is that there's lots of creators, including myself. If I go into my YouTube channel right now, I have a whole long list of people that have used my content without my permission. I don't care. They've not changed it in a way that changes the meaning or made me look bad or whatever. They've just used it to either try to get views or try to spread the information. I don't know what this type of content is. So maybe it's personal. That's one thing. But if it's something that you wouldn't mind being popular, then a lot of times it's best to just let it be, and maybe even encourage the spread of it. Maybe contact the person that took it and said, listen, I would have preferred if you contacted me before you use this content, but I got to tell you, turned out to be a pretty good TikTok video. Would you like to use more of mine? I can license it to you. So that's a way to actually make money. You can do things where you can collab after that. Maybe this person has a lot of views or subscribers or followers, and maybe you could do a collaboration. But it's kind of like taking, lemons and making lemonade. Are there other ways that you can use this kind of negative situation to your advantage? So that's what I would suggest when it comes to TikTok. Frankly, if someone used some of my YouTube videos in TikTok, I'd be stoked, because a lot of times those get tons of views, and then people come to me and want to visit with me and that kind of stuff. All right, we got a super chat from Insane McLean in the membrane. Insane, thank you so much for giving me that $5. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And it also means a lot to me that you've tuned in a couple times for these live streams. It's awesome to have you. You have great, clear-cut questions, and I love it. Don Cato, aka Grey Wolf. I like that. Ian, YouTube clarity on drone footage is vague. Absolutely. Hobbyist versus commercial. As a hobbyist working on Part 107 exam, can you post without strikes? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. I've seen it tons of times. I think the question becomes is really if it's your own original footage. That's one question. Another question is the trademark situation, or what are you displaying as far as trademarks in those drone videos? Obviously, there's music as a question, but the answer is absolutely yes, you can. And I got another super chat. Oh my gosh, Spencer says, "Thanks for your work." Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Oh, yeah, we put it on the screen. Thanks for your work. TikTok people are taking my words out of context and trying to smear me. Okay, well, point made. I get that. Now, think about it. There's another additional concern about this I want to talk to you about. Sometimes pulling down videos makes it worse because you're feeding into what that person wants to do. So a lot of times we've had tons and tons of people do false copyright strikes or false DMCA takedown notices because they're pissed at the person. And then that promotes a war. And then the other side starts going on the Instagram account, putting bad comments, blah, 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 blah. So just be careful. If it is a smear campaign and it's a one-off and, maybe not that many people saw it, then consider before you do it, before you start a war. Maybe the war will get you views. I don't know. Maybe it's really out of principle and you've got to do it. Totally support it. But just be thoughtful when it comes to this stuff, because sometimes fighting the battle is not worth it over time. Maybe you just have to go. I've seen that a lot in multi-level marketing. That is I don't know if you guys have done multi-level marketing or seen those videos. Holy mackerel, there's just battles and wars going on in that area, and people get pissed and they do false copyright strikes all the time. Channels are taken down. People are upset. I have many different consults with the multi-level marketing thing. So I'm not trying to tell you to do one thing or the other. I'm just trying to say, just be careful, because sometimes when you start getting in the thing where you're throwing down copyright strikes that you wouldn't ordinarily have done, but you're doing it because you're pissed off the other person's an asshole. Excuse me, pain in the butt. Oh my God, I swore. First time, I think. That's first time. All right, cool. then you get in a battle, you want to fight. You're like, dude, I just want to make videos about woodworking. Okay. I really don't want to fight for years about this. So I had one creator that's an RV enthusiast, got in a battle with another RV enthusiast, and was a sweet lady. But they were engaged in a 1.5 year long battle. And they're making videos about the other one, saying they're a fraud. I mean, it's just a whole thing. So just be careful before you start fighting that fight. Thank you, Spencer, for the $5. I really appreciate it. John Guzman, Johan Guzman. Sorry, I understand copyrighting people's songs in their own way, but why would music industry still copyright video game company songs, since there's just fun to listen to everyone, especially for streaming for E3. E3 is coming up. Woof, that's awesome. Yeah, so a lot of the older video games allow streaming explicitly within their terms of service or their streaming terms. The newer video games, I'm thinking of Cyberpunk, basically has some songs that are streamable and some that are not. And you're expected to not stream the songs that are not part. And they're very clear about that. You can even click on a button in the video game and it won't play those songs that are not allowed to be streamed. But for video games, I always think it's really simple. Most people don't have problems, because really what you do is the new video game comes out. The first thing you do is you go to the terms of service, or you type in streaming terms, and you find that and you just follow those rules. And for the most part, you can stream 24 hours a day with all the image, all the copyrighted content, all the trademarks, and have no problems. But the music, that sometimes is a problem. So you have to make sure you don't have that in. Check that box in the video game. I'm so sorry, Jesse Van Loon. I am never getting my question answered. Well, Jesse, I am so sorry. Let me see. Is there any way to kind of cull through things? So many questions here. Jesse, I'm so sorry. Could you just restate it again, and I will answer it? I'm so sorry. All right. We have wrong. I have a question about fair use. Can I make a video which retell a whole movie by my own words, include my opinion about specific scenes, explain ending? Is that considered fair use? Absolutely. That's a perfect example. And there's some people who make lots and lots of money doing that. And matter of fact, I'm so excited about this question, because that is exactly an example of creating original content from original art. I got to tell you, a lot of people think that having a bunch of B-roll with the original work in it is important. Here's why it's not necessarily. And that is, a lot of times you're reading articles online about a specific topic, but they don't have a lot of pictures. They don't have using a lot of copyrighted art, right? But you're still engaged, because the opinions, the critique is the most important part. So sometimes, guys, think about your videos or your podcast or your posts on Instagram as a blog or a news article. Listen, if you're talking about Star Wars, do you need to have battle scenes peppered through your whole video? First of all, do you need to have a long video? I think you don't. I think most people don't have the time. So let's do less than 10 minutes, okay? And then the other part is, let's get cogent, let's get pithy with our words. Let's analyze. Let's not just talk off the cuff. Let's talk about exactly what people need to hear in your opinions. And then it's about Star Wars. So flash an image on the screen of the Star Wars movie poster for 2 seconds. That evokes the emotion that you want to convey. People are there to, oh, wow, that was a great movie, or maybe I really hated it, whatever it is. There's the emotion. And then go through point after point. Remember the scene when, Luke Skywalker loses his parents. I didn't like it. It was inconsistent because of this. The way they shot it was a very warm color on the film. I liked it. It should have been cold, whatever. But you don't need to necessarily show stuff all the time. I do think we make a mistake, and I've been coached many times by creators to say, listen, you got to show everything. And I think you do, but I think we need to be better at being creators. And how we do that is with our words, getting really, really tight with our words, and people will tune in. And here's the evidence for that. Plenty of people like Louis Rossman, I'm trying to think, like Knowing Better, plenty of YouTube channels out there who are killing it with not a lot of B-roll. So you can too. And then what's so wonderful is you can sleep well at night, because you have not violated any copyright law or any terms of service. All right. We got Dokes. Let's see. Let me just see. I love that question, by the way. That's a great question. Dokes says, thanks for answering my question earlier. Been a viewer of yours for a long time and just want to say I appreciate your time. Dokes, I appreciate your time. Honestly, thanks for joining us today. Anytime you can join us, I'm happy to have you. Happy to answer your questions. It's really great to have you. Okay, let's see. Oh, here we go. Jesse Van Loon, got your question. Stoked. Let's do this thing. No problem, Ian, and thanks. If you hire someone to draw a picture for you on Fiverr, probably, then they would own the copyright for the media. Would you have to specify the copyrights in your contract? Yes, you do. Presumably, in that type of transaction, you would, in other words, the court would look at that and they would construe that you own the copyrights because it would be what's called a work for hire. So just so you know, I mean, contracts are way better, and I'm happy to supply them to you at iancorzine.com. You can download those type of contracts. But just so you know, if let's say you just did this thing, the person was in the Philippines and you were in Canada, the court is going to look at that and say, oh, no, this is a work for hire, so you're entitled to the copyrights. But you should spell it out. And yes, the answer to the question is you will have those copyrights and be able to use that image for whatever purpose you see fit. I would encourage, if you're doing an image that is about some sort of copyrighted content, I always use like Marvel or DC Comics as an example, that there's a parody component to it. That way you can always rely on, one, you got you got the copyrights to the animation, but two, it's a parody, so it's fair use, it's not fan art. But then you can use that image for whatever you want. And I got to tell you guys that I know we're all kind of struggling for money now, but Fiverr is amazing. Fiverr is, you can get $5 images, beautiful images or beautiful animations very quickly from people. So it's worth it. Spend $20 on this next video to have these cool emotional images and you'll get those views and it'll pay itself off. Varong gives us a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Varong. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for your answer. I watched a lot of your video and you are my savior on YouTube. Keep up the good work. Always support. Thank you. That means a lot to me. And I'm just really honored by your contribution. I promise to use it for making more of these videos that hopefully can help people. Just so you know, whenever you do Super Chat, guys, this goes into a fund that is a separate fund for my YouTube videos. And so I'm not even using it. I have another business that's how I pay for my living expenses. But this all goes into making more YouTube videos. So just realize that, the any of these funds that go to are going to go to a beneficial purpose for all of you. So thank you so much. We have a person who is learning, thank you so much, with the question. I love that. Question, objection. As a content creator posting fair use and link when reviewing AMA regenerative medicine videos on your channel, is that acceptable? Like I said before, I had a consult earlier this week with a creator just like you who did health-related content. And it says here, posting fair use link when reviewing videos. Yeah, so, this is a great question. Absolutely love this one. So here's a little secret about SEO. What we're seeing people do now, and they've been doing it for a while, but people are really queuing upon it, especially if you look at some of those like Forbes and some of those other news/blog type sites. What they're doing is they're going to write an article about regenerative medicine, right? That's the article they're going to write about. What they do before they write the article, or maybe during they're writing the article, is they go to YouTube and they take advantage of the embed function. And so what they do is they find every video that's valuable to their potential audience on regenerative medicine. Then what they do is they write a paragraph, then they do an embed, then they do another paragraph, they do another embed with these videos that they think are relevant to what they're talking about. One, whenever you sign up for a YouTube account, whenever you upload content to YouTube, you are agreeing that other people can use this content to the extent of the features of YouTube. One of the features of YouTube is embeds, right? So it's a great way to keep users engaged in your article. It's like, write a paragraph about some point you want to make, watch the short video about the next point. And it doesn't have to be your video. It could be someone else's, obviously. Read a little bit more, watch a video about it. It's a great way to keep people engaged. And, having done some Google Analytics and stuff, that's where you keep people on your page. Web sessions are awesome. That means that Google favors your content, pushes it up, and the embeds function as backlinks so that your content is more credible. So really a great question. Yeah, for any of your health related videos, frankly, any videos, do these embeds of YouTube videos with your videos or others. It doesn't matter, because you're going to get a lot of SEO support for that page and really blow up. So great question there. Let's see, let's see. I thought we had something else. Okay, good. All right. So great question. Let's see. Okay, so we got another question from Insane McLean. What is the best way to protect your art, logos, drawings, templates, and PDFs? Two-pronged answer. I mean, watermarks are obviously the way to do it, the best way. But the other way is this, and this is what I tell online artists, is that it's you got to come to grips with, it's not like the old school art was. It's not like when, back in the 1990s when you did an art piece and you could slam anybody who used that in a magazine or, TV show or something like that. These days, if you're putting stuff online, it's at risk. So it would be like putting your painting on a telephone post. If you put your painting on a telephone post, listen, you're going to get some exposure, but you're also going to get some risk. And that is someone's going to take it off and take it to their home. And so a lot of creative artists now, what they do is they have two levels of creation. So they have one tract where they don't mind. I mean, it's not appropriate, it's against the law, but they don't mind people stealing it. All right. And they use this one line of their art. They might throw in a really great painting that really is going to get attention. And then they do 5 others that are not as great. Then they hold all their best stuff for their website or some other service that's behind a paywall. And that's the only way that they've been able to guard against it. Yes, they allow some of the level 1 content to be used commercially. Yes, it's being stolen. They understand that, but they do it because they say, listen, that's the price of doing business. And then oftentimes that does give me exposure for my stuff that really costs them money. Beeple is an example of that. That guy does the NFTs. What a wonderful story. If you ever get a chance to watch the documentary on Beeple, it's amazing. But for the longest time, his beautiful art was just being taken and stolen. And he allowed it. He believed it was free expression. And then what he did is he held the best stuff behind a paywall. So, and then eventually he did his NFTs, which are the ultimate paywall, by the way. I could talk about that for hours. NFTing your art, your music, your videos, future. Let's do a live on that. I can't wait to talk about that. That's the ultimate paywall. But that's the only way I found you can do it. So it's watermarking. It's using the functions of social media. Like, screenshots are hard to avoid. But then again, it's paywalling the good stuff, and the stuff that's just okay. That's the stuff that can be stolen. Hopefully you use it for exposure and exploring. So that's my best take on that. Okay, may I answer that? Another question. I love this. This is so good. You guys are getting the question thing. Can you help me with registering my app's exclusive international intellectual property rights so that no one else can make my app idea? So this implicates a couple of legal issues. First one is you can't copyright an idea. You can patent an idea or a formation, the technical requirements that constitute an idea. So can you help me register? I certainly can give you advice about the process. I myself do not do patents, but I also have referral sources that do. So yes, if you ever wanted to schedule a time to speak with me personally, you can go to iancorzine.com, go to the upper right-hand corner, schedule a consult, and I will give you that recommendation or those recommendations. It's very important that you do patent your stuff. It's a long and arduous process, but if you got a great idea, especially for an app, and I've just had a consult with a creator yesterday who has an awesome app. I hope to be associated with it coming up. Because I would love for all of us to use it. Super innovative, super forthright, again, patented. So yeah, good job there. Let's see, Flounder Fanatic Fishing. Ian, if a person has a channel under 13, what will happen and how would you avoid takedown? Just a quick answer on that. You're not allowed to use YouTube if you're under 13 years old without parental consent. And frankly, you're not allowed to use it, period. Under 13, and that goes true for Twitch, that goes true for Facebook and those things. Listen, it happens all the time. I just think that you should work under an adult supervision of that. Basically, make sure that it's your parent or your guardian's account, and then be able to contribute content to that account under the supervision of that adult. That's the best way not to be taken down and not to have problems. Question, simplistically digital. I love that. Any tips for better voice audio and videos? Yeah, I have plenty of tips. There's a couple things. I mean, the number one is microphone. That's obviously the best. And this is the SM7B, which I really recommend. But I would not if you're just starting out, you got to get the other one, which is, shoot, I have it, but I don't know where it is. It's by Shure 2. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, it's the USB mic. It is so awesome. I used it in Florida, and it's smaller. I travel with it. I think it's the SM or SM7 or something like that. But just type in Shure USB mic, and you're going to be able to find it on Amazon. But highly recommend it. And then the other part to it is your modification of your audio. It depends on if you're doing lives or if you're doing video. If you're doing video, obviously a limiter is huge. Increasing the bass, doesn't matter if you're a female voice or a male voice, to warm your voice is important. There's lots of little tutorials on YouTube and also on Google. You can just type in filters for your voice, something similar to that, editing your voice, making your voice sound better, warmer, which you can get, and you can just alter it. That was so great about this mic that I'm telling you about, I'm sorry I don't know the name, is that you can actually alter those settings on your laptop or your desktop, so you don't even need to worry about later on editing it and putting plugins to change it. So it's a really good mic. If I get a moment, I'm going to put it in the comments below so you can, or put like an Amazon link to it. But it's a really, really great mic. I'd highly recommend it. All right, let's see here. We're looking at your software is messed up. Whenever you get the donation or super chat thing, your software skips all previous comments. Yeah, I know. I agree, Jesse. My software is messed up. I don't know. It's true. Whenever I get that, it just goes bling. Let's see. Also waiting for a video on copyright hunters. I know what they are. Some others might not know what they are, how to deal with them. Well, I think what you're talking about are people that are false copyright strikers, and that's what we're seeing a lot of. People do it for hateful reasons, and people do it to be able to blackmail you. The best thing I can tell you is a couple things. One is YouTube is aware of most of them. Two, if you guys are big enough to work with MCNs, multi-channel networks, it's great to have their customer service departments behind you, and they can fend off these attacks if you have them. So if I would really work hard to get monetization if you have it, and then let's say get 10,000 subscribers or followers or whatever, contact an MCN, see what they can do for you. If you need advice on the MCN contract that they provide you, go to iancorzine.com and schedule some time with me. We'll go through the contract, and I'll be able to educate you on the terms so you're not surprised. But that's a really good way to fend off these problems, because the MCNs generally have conduits into the social media platform that you're working with. So I actually would recommend them. All right, we have 3 more minutes, so I just want to make sure I get some of these last questions. Simplistically, we got that one. We did that one? Okay. We got Flounder saying question with no question. All right, but we got another question from Trent Hedgehog 1671, and I don't think that's his birth year. What do you have to say about fan-made animated videos like Mario, Sonic, etc. that aren't aimed for children? First of all, love them, especially if they're not aimed for children. Second of all, a little problematic. Make sure that when they're animated that they are a parody. They're a technical parody. That way they fall within fair use. Make them short. But I love them. And Ramiz is here. Ramiz, thank you. One of my hugest supporters, always there for me. Thank you so much for being here today. I want that mic, Ian. All right. Do you guys have 2 seconds while I try to search this thing up? Sure. 7 USB. See, I'm so sorry that I'm searching online. I know it's so stupid. Yeah, this is this one. All right. Boom. All right. I will put this link. It's so good. So worth it. $249. I think these mics are like $700. Let's see. Can I put this? How do I? Oh, you know what I'll do? Here's what I'll do. I will share the screen. Let's see if I can do it here. Sorry, I'm delaying things. I know. Video file, stop screen, share. Not video file. It's not working. I don't want video file. Share screen. All right. So here we go. Boom. Share. All right, now can you see it? Yeah, there you go. I'm going to put it on full screen. So you want this mic. You want the Shure MV7, and they have it at Amazon. think it's $249. And it is, going back on things, if I had the ability, I would totally get this mic to start off. First of all, my friend and I, Craig, have done a sound comparison. It sounds almost identical to the one I'm using here. It's much smaller, therefore it's much easier to travel with. I'm doing a lot of traveling and I'm doing my lives remotely, so I need to have it. There's no need to do all this preamp stuff like this mic has. All you need is you plug it into your freaking computer. The other part's cool is if you want to monitor your audio, there's a headphone jack. You stick that right in there. It fits on any other rack or stand there. And yeah, like I said, it's very affordable. So highly recommend this microphone. I'm not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored, but it's a really good microphone. All right, guys, listen, I just want to say, okay, wait, one more question for Michael. It says here, why Super Chat is missed and lots of comments are missed. I don't know, but I'm going to talk. I have a direct line to StreamYard. I have some creators online that'll help me with that, and I will talk to them about it. Timinachi Glass, I would love to answer your giveaway topic. I'm going to do it on the next live, which will be on Wednesday at 4 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. EST. We're going to do another live Q&A. I'd love for you guys to tune in, save up your questions. I'm going to be there to answer those questions. And because I want to be able to help you as best I can. And then also to be aware for some new upcoming videos that I'm putting out. One's on the new Apple M1s and their terms of service, the iOS 15. There's a lot of privacy concerns, a lot of security issues in this new update. So I'm going to set you hip to those in my next coming video. And I'm venturing into the world of electronic cars. We're going to do a video also on Tesla and the terms of service there. I'm going to specifically highlight, there's lots of questions about, is Tesla liable when there's an auto crash? Maybe it's on autopilot. And so I'm going to answer those questions in an upcoming video. So I'd love for you to join us. And I'd also like you to visit iancorzine.com. If you have any questions, I got a free book on there about copyright. I got legal templates you can download if you have needs for your channels, for your brand deals or whatever you have. And then also, if you ever want to speak to me personally, just go to the upper right-hand corner, schedule a consult, and you'll pop onto my calendar. You'll see when I'm available. Click on it. Boom, 45 minutes. We'll go through all your questions that are unique to your channel. I appreciate so much your time. Thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday, and I'll see you soon.